Welcome back, Big V, to our seniors podcast, Division 1 Women here, and we are going to discuss the end of the season, the last spurt running home. Now, looking at this ladder, it is outrageously close. Outrageously close.
Yeah, I think it's the most exciting ladder in the whole of Big V at the moment. You've got effectively 8 out of the 9 teams can still make the top 5 and make finals, Ted.
Yeah, it is top 5. So you have a bye round 1 if you finish first. 2 and 3 have the second chance. 4 and 5 have knockout. So you really don't want to be sitting 4 and 5th because you're losing, you go home. You want that second chance. But, yes, you want first, but Warrnambool 9 and 2 sitting on top. They have Mildura immediately next, so we're sitting 4th. And then the rest of this series, or rest of the season for them, is extremely winnable games.
Yeah, fairly light. I mean, it's hard to call light because we've still got 5 and 7 teams sitting in 8th position.
Yep.
So only two wins less than that in finals contention. But they don't play another top 4 side.
No.
Despite having the most games left on their fixture, they don't play another top 4 side. So they are looking pretty healthy up there, and geez, they're in some pretty good form as well.
Yeah, they do. They are. And yes, they do have Craigieburn coming up, but a 7 and 6 record of Craigieburn and 9 and 2 record of Warrnambool. Craigieburn, we've spoken about them in the past and very recently of how well they can play. They can be incredibly competitive, but other than Mildura, that's probably going to be their most intense game.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Craigieburn on the night, they can challenge absolutely anyone. Courtney Strait gets hot. She's going to keep them in any game. So, but Warrnambool are looking to be in a real prime position to get themselves into finals. And that takes us to the 9 and 3 Bellarine, who came out of the blocks real hard. They've probably dropped a couple of games on the way, which you sort of expect throughout a long season, but they've got a little bit of a harder draw, Ted. They've got not only Craigieburn, which we just spoke about, they've got Chelsea, who are still going to be trying to make a push, and the toughest games of all, Mildura and Western Port, which will determine and shape this top 5 quite considerably.
Absolutely, and only one game behind, and 2 teams which can make incredible runs home here. So it's very interesting. Only 5 games between Bellarine and Western Port. They only have 5 games left. Western Port also do have 2 teams that they've got to come up against at the end. So they're last and second last, the 2 top 4 sides of Bellarine and Mildura. So very, very interesting run home them as well. Altona is up next to us, sitting 6th with the 6 and 8 record. So, can we see Western Port jump into second place? Not that it's ultimately going to matter too much because there's probably a good chance that 2 of them are going to come across each other round 1 final.
Yeah, it's effectively this home court advantage of who doesn't have to travel to the other side of the bay.
Very true.
But, yeah, I look at Western Port and I sit there and go, as a coach, these next 3 games are vital because the next 3 games determine whether they make finals, and I think the last 2 games they have will determine their sort of positioning within finals.
Extremely well said, mate. I love that.
Thank you, Ted.
Very well said.
On to Mildura. Mildura got a real tough sort of couple of weeks. In fact, they've got a pretty tough run home after coming off a loss to Melbourne Uni, which they would have probably penciled in. They've got Warrnambool, Bellarine, and then they finish off with Western Port. So in their last 4 games, they played 3 top 4 teams.
Yeah, incredibly tough. And we don't have it here, so we're not 100% sure. We can absolutely have a look as to whether Mildura are going to be playing at home or away. So whether that becomes a factor.
I'm sure it will. There's a lot of travel in that, Warrnambool and Bellarine in itself. And then, going across the other side of the bay to Western Port as well to finish. It's certainly going to take its toll depending which way they're going. But, it's going to be an interesting finish for Mildura. They're going to really rely upon Vanessa Power's experience and then Tyra Johnson's scoring power to sort of try and get them solidified in the top 5.
Absolutely, but they're also going to have to rely on some of these other teams to lose because Craigieburn, who are right behind them, of 7 and 6, have Bellarine and Warrnambool first, immediately next. So 1st and 2nd on the ladder. They do have an easier run home with Warrandyte, Melbourne Uni, and Chelsea to finish off their season. So a bit of a roles reverse as to Western Port. They've got an extremely tough 2 games here. and then a sort of simpler run home, Craigieburn. So if they can try and steal one of these wins against Bellarine or Warrnambool and finish with a 4-1 record, 3-2 won't be terrible. But if they can try and get that 4-1, that would be huge for them.
Yeah, certainly. And then we sort of, just to finish off, we see those teams that are chasing, and it's Altona's got 3 out of 4 games against top 4 sides at the moment. So you start to think maybe they're really up against it. And you look at Melbourne Uni, they're actually in a good position. They've got a lot of games left. They've got 6 games to play, and only 2 of those are actually against the top 4 teams currently as it sits. So there's, they've got to beat the Chelseas, the Altonas, who are right next to them on the ladder. They've got a Warrandyte, who are sitting at the bottom of the ladder, and then Craigieburn, who they're going to be challenging for that 5th position. Some really important games coming up for Melbourne Uni.
Absolutely. Chelsea to round it out, the 5 and 7, who are sitting 8th, but very, very easily can jump into this finals position. They have quite a tough draw here, just the 5 games to finish off their season, but 3 of those 5 are top 3. They are actually 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough ask, Ted. Chelsea might be up against it.
Yeah, look, that'll be all for us today. Keep it locked in, BV. We'll speak to you soon.